Hey, beloved, welcome to another chapter of the book of Sean. It's good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited about this show tonight. We got a lot of ground to cover. I'm telling you, I'm going to talk about Elon Musk. We're going to let him have it tonight. We're going to talk about what happened in Mississippi with the FedEx driver. You guys heard about that? We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. My dear sister's here, never ending Nina. I can't wait to talk to her about, her journey, her life, her story, her truth, and how it is that being different in a community of people that should understand difference can sometimes end up with you feeling different all the time. I'm just saying, we got a lot of ground to cover. I can't wait to talk to her. I haven't said a word to her yet, but I can tell just from her spirit. I'm a good judge of people. This is what I do. Her spirit is already absolutely amazing. You're going to love her. You're going to love the time that we spend tonight. So get comfortable, people. Take your shoes off. Get you some pie. Okay? Let's do some headlines. So, DeMontario Gibson is the FedEx driver we've all heard about, who was allegedly chased and shot at for delivering packages in Brookhaven, Mississippi. You black people are moving back to the South. I'm not against the South, but I'm not going. Okay? Anyway, he was delivering packages in Brookhaven, Mississippi, and Mr. Gibson, DeMontario Gibson, called the police. And when he called the police told him that somebody was reported being suspicious in the neighborhood, and Mr. Gibson realized they was talking about him. He was calling to report being shot at, and the people who shot at him had called the police. Oh my God. He was reported as being suspicious. Now, suspicious in this case means being black. Okay? So they called the police on him. And apparently, allegedly, I got to say allegedly, so we don't want to get sued. Allegedly, they shot at him. Welcome to Black History Month in America, people. I'm just saying, it just never ends. That's why I'm always amazed at how people could wonder why we need Black History Month. Why do y'all need Black History Month? Because a man just got shot at in Mississippi for delivering packages for being black. Need I say anything else? I'm just saying. This is exactly what happened with Ahmaud Arbery, right? And this is exactly what happened to Trayvon Martin. Being black in the so-called wrong place. And people thinking that because you're black, you don't belong there. And then they going forward to do all kinds of crazy things. In the case of Ahmaud Arbery, in the case of Trayvon Martin, both of them lost their lives because they was black in the wrong place. This is what anti-blackness is all about. Anti-blackness is you don't have the presumption of innocence, you don't have the presumption of virtue, you don't have the presumption of honesty, and you don't have the presumption of placement, that you belong wherever you are. That's what anti-blackness is all about. You follow what I'm saying? But here's the problem. We don't get the presumption of honesty, but we ain't the ones that have been lying to the world for 300 years. If anybody should not have the presumption of honesty, it ain't us. I'm just going to let that go because, I don't want to lose this good job I got. But you know what I'm saying, people. I'm so happy that Mr. Gibson lived to tell about his story. But I want all the bigots and the racists to understand something. And I think my dear sister Nina can go with me. You ain't scaring nobody. The days when you could just shoot at something or put a noose in a tree or burn a cross on a lawn, sweetie, them days is over. You ain't scaring nobody. Ain't nobody scared of you. Nobody is scared of you, Mr. and Mrs. Bigot and Mr. and Mrs. Racist. We're going to go wherever we damn well please. And we're going to show up in all of our regalia and blackness. You hear what I'm saying? Or we're going to be just black in the black. Or we showing up. And if you don't like it, that's not my problem. And if you're annoyed about my presence, that ain't my problem either. You're going to have to get over it. But the one thing you need to know is that we are not going to not show up just because you don't want me there. I told you I'm ready for y'all tonight. Messing around. So dear Mr. and Mrs. Racist, this letter is for you. It's not for all white people because not all white people are racist, right? But it is for Mr. and Mrs. Racist who also happens to be white. Ain't nobody scared of you, okay? So why don't you sit down and work on your humanity? Try to be a better person. Try to figure out who you would be if you couldn't be white. That's what you should be trying to figure out. Not trying to shoot at me. Because you mess around and shoot at the wrong black person, we might shoot back. Let's move on. Steve-O. Steve-O's here tonight. He's over there. He's over there in the booth, keeping track of my sound. Let's talk about Apple AirTags, people, okay? Apple AirTags. Let me just say, this is one of the worst ideas Apple ever had. Apple AirTags, they are terrible. So they were created apparently to help people locate their keys and devices and all that kind of stuff. But people are using Apple AirTags to stalk people. They're using Apple AirTags to follow people and to monitor people's activity. People are tracking people with Apple AirTags, putting them on people's cars and then, slipping them in somebody's purse or in somebody's pocket, and then you're on your phone tracking where people are. What in the bejesus was Apple thinking when they invented a way for people to track and follow people? Here's what Apple forgot. You ready? Because I love Apple. I got a bunch of Apple products. I'm an Apple guy. I don't know, Steve, are you an Apple guy, Samsung guy? He's an Apple guy too. I'm an Apple guy. I love Apple. But what in the bejesus was here's what Apple forgot. Apple forgot about a little thing called, ready for it, human nature. Somebody sitting around Apple said, I got an idea. Let's create something where you can just put it on something and find out where the something is. And wherever the something is, you can find it. And somebody else at Apple said, this is a really good idea. And they said, yeah, let's do it. And they forgot to have me in the room. This is why Apple should hire me. This is a job interview, Steve-O. If I were in the room, I would have said, slow down, everybody. Let's ask ourselves an important question. What's the worst thing that can happen with this thing? Listen, people, I'm giving you some good advice before Never-Ending Nina gets out here. You hear me? Always ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Go to the worst case scenario, and if you can live with that, then go back to the beginning and start it. If you go to the worst case scenario and you can't live with that, you might not want to do it. That was for free. I'm not even charging y'all for that. But I would have charged Apple, because Apple forgot that human nature, people are devoutly dysfunctional. You follow me? We are dysfunctional people. And I'm talking about everybody. Black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, gay people, trans people, straight people, cis people, rich people, poor people, people. There's not a people on the planet that avoid fallibility and dysfunction. Okay? Anything you put in a human hand it can go left at any moment, including love, including forgiveness, including relationships. If a human being can mess up a relationship and love, we can mess up a tracker. Oh my God. You can't just give birth to something in the world and then not consider how that thing is going to be used. Because you end up acting like gun companies who say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, the reality is that the gun helped. Because people are possessive and selfish and obsessive and narcissistic and malevolent and insecure and concupiscent and small and petty. And I can keep going. I could give you a whole list of things that we are. We're all of those things. This is human nature. And you're not going to avoid human nature as long as human beings are involved in it. So it just goes to show you that you can't put everything in the hands of a human being, including your future. Let's move on. Got a couple of more Never-Ending Nina, then I'm going to get to talk to you. All right, let's talk about Russia and Ukraine, okay? Let's talk about that. You guys ready for this? Put your seatbelts on, okay? This is going to be a ride. I'm warning you early. So we all know about the Russians threatening to invade the Ukraine, and we all suspect that Vladimir Putin is doing, of course, his posturing, and he wants to invade another sovereign country. And, of course, the United States of America, President Biden is actively working to avoid this military conflict between two countries because under the notion and the guise that Russia should not invade a country that did not attack it, has done nothing to it. You can't just go around invading countries. And unlike some Republicans out there who don't think that this is a problem, I happen to think that this is a problem. It is a threat to world stability. You follow what I'm saying? Countries invading other countries for no reason is never a good idea. And this is literally how world wars get started. Okay? Now my generation, my parents' generation, my son's generation, and now my sons have sons, my grandchildren's generation, they don't know nothing about no world war. But this is literally how it gets started. Countries just walking around bombing other countries. And so the United States is over there trying to negotiate and make sure this doesn't happen. But I do find it interesting, Steve-O. I do find it interesting that the United States is over there trying to convince a country not to invade another country that hasn't done anything to it. I do find that ironic. And let me tell you why. Because just a couple of years ago, that's exactly what we did. we went over to Iraq, a country that had nothing to do with 9/11. Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden hated each other. They didn't work together. And we went over to Iraq. We bombed that country. We made war with that country. We occupied it for 20 years. We put our own government in the country. And now we're trying to tell Russia, oh, this is the worst thing you could possibly do. This is why we look like hypocrites on the world stage. Because we are constantly doing things and then telling other people that they shouldn't do it. We want to preach human rights to China, and we shoot unarmed black people. And the people that shoot unarmed black people don't go to jail. I'm just saying, people, don't get mad at me. Just say amen. If you can't say nothing, just say, teach Dr. Sean. I'm just saying, we look like hypocrites on the world stage. And so here we are, trying to get Russia not to invade. And let me say this very clearly before I change subjects, that, yeah, if Russia invades the Ukraine, it's wrong. But it's not any more wrong or less wrong than when we invaded Iraq, only to discover that there were no weapons of mass destruction. Just a lot of foolishness going on over here. Here's my last one before I take this break. Let's talk about Tesla. You guys have heard that the state of California Department of Employment and Housing happens to now be suing Tesla. You know, all y'all want Tesla. Steve-O, you want a Tesla? You want a Tesla? I don't want. I think Teslas are ugly. I think they're beautiful inside. The inside of the car is absolutely amazing and beautiful, but the outside, not doing it for me. Now, if they come up with a Range Rover looking like Tesla, you got me. But anyway, Tesla's being sued by California Department of Housing and Employment for racism and harassment of black employees. Exactly. Steve-O, you should be on camera. Steve-O went like this. Like, damn. Yes, Tesla, the company y'all love so much, is being sued for racism and the harassment of black employees. So according to the suit, they don't have career advancement, and they get less money, and they get penalized in ways that their white counterparts don't. And this company was founded by who? Elon Musk. And remember when y'all told me, Time Magazine told us that Elon Musk was the man of the year, 2021, man of the year. And remember when I told you that that should not be the case? I told you that Officer Goodman should have been the man of the year, because Officer Goodman was the officer who led that mob away from the Senate floor and saved United States senators and saved the Senate. And Time Magazine said, oh no, not a black officer, not a black man who doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of, notoriety and fame. All he did was save some senators. No, let's make the rich white guy the man of the year. And so the rich white guy who y'all made man of the year, his company's being sued for racism and harassment of black people. How does that make you feel? Oh, but America loves rich white people. I'm trying to figure this out. As long as you're rich and white, you can do anything in this country. You can just do anything. Here's what I have to say about that. These billionaire tech boys, they're not angels. And they're not saviors. And if they want credit for the success and the innovation, they ought to take credit from the foolishness rather too. This is going on in your company, Mr. Musk. Mr. Elon Musk, this is going on in your company. In your company, black and brown people are being harassed. In your company, it is alleged that black and brown people don't get paid the same. It is alleged in your company, Mr. Musk, that black and brown people don't get to advance in your company. With your nice cars and your forward-thinking ways of making cars move. Now, your cars are in the future, but your behavior's in the past. I got one thing to say to you, Mr. Musk. It comes from the color purple. Black folks will know it. Those of you who don't know it, it's because you ain't watched enough black movies. Mr. Musk, until you do right by us, everything you even think about is going to fail. Let's take a break. Let me talk to my sister in a little while. We'll be right back. Back, everybody. So listen, it's February, right? And you would think that, February is the time for black folks to celebrate and love being black. And you would think that the people who have been through so much struggle and so much travail would have a unique understanding of suffering in a way that would not allow us to obfuscate, reject, dispossess people who are part of the circle of love that makes us who we are rather. But we do it. And we do it to LGBTQ people, and especially we do it to trans brothers and sisters in a way that is astounding to me. The kind of vitriol and the hate and the venom that is extended to members of our community. You follow what I'm saying? My guest tonight will take us into that journey, into that hurt. And I'm hoping tonight also into how we can forge better relationships, not with white folks all the time, right? But better relationships with ourselves. How can we understand who we are better? And by extension, everybody watching, I think will be blessed by the conversation. Welcome to the show tonight, Never Ending Nina. Hey, Never Ending Nina.
How you doing, Dr. Sean?
It is good to see you.
Likewise.
I like you already.
Thank you.
This is going to be good. I can tell. Like I said, I'm a great judge of people. I can pick up on the spirit just for three seconds. I know who you are. Yes. So listen, I want to get into your journey. I want to get into all that means, right? Because you are going to add to our understanding of what it means to celebrate black culture, black life, black future. But before we get into that, I'm going to ask you some questions about you because I want your heart to shine. I want your soul to speak. So first, give me your gratitude list. All the things you're grateful for right now.
My breath. My knowledge, hashtag Nina knowledge, my view, my heart, my love, my strength, my dedication, my energy, my allness, my everything. That's what I'm grateful for right now at this very present moment.
Yeah, no, I'm here for all that. My allness.
Black people, we got to make up our words.
Listen,
now.
I do it every show. No, but I love that because bringing all of who you are to the table and living at a time when you can bring all of who you are to the table is something to be grateful for. So tell me something that always makes you feel good about yourself.
Once again, it's my thought process. It's how I view things. It's how I can take things in, understand it, and then make it palpable to my everyday walk of life. And then in that walk of life, try to have educational moments for our community. And that community is the universal Black community.
No, I received that. I've never asked this question before, but I'm going to ask it to you. Tell me about the moment that you knew your best friend was really your best friend.
So thankfully, I have had my best friend since I was in elementary, and we still are friends to this day. Shout out to Quan. They'll know who that is. But I think by us going through life in each segment and still being able to see each other at all those intersections reassured me that, that's my person. That's one of the persons that I have for life that actually sees me and understands me.
No, that's rich. I mean, we could end the show right there, honestly. No, listen, if you got somebody, I tell people this all the time, Nina. If you got somebody in your life who will accept you in your different stages and phases and crazy, keep them.
It's necessary.
We both shaking our head. we both like, look, because listen, and agree or disagree, whatever comes into your spirit. You lose people. People will fall off on you in the middle of some of the best and worst moments of your life. And if you got somebody who said, no, as the Bible says, Ruth said to Naomi, where you go, I go. And where you lodge, I lodge. And where you die, I die. Your God shall be my God.
And building that, particularly in the Black space, always opens me up for more of those experiences, because so many systems are put in place for us to not even see that within each other.
That's rich. That's rich. So the system is set up for us to abandon each other.
Of course, like the thing that I got one time when the good brother well, I don't know if you're a doctor, but Jay-Z had said one time about the crabs in a barrel mentality. And what enlightened me was like crabs was never meant to be in a barrel. And so if you could consider us being in that ship with all the diasporas under that ship coming to this foreign land to us, we were never meant to be at the bottom of that ship, but here we are. And so building out that space in the midst of the systems that were already in place to disenfranchise us, we still find some commonality in how we show up and create our own lane in how we navigate in this foreign place, which is now ours because we helped create the very essence of United States of America, if you can call it that.
Yeah, I'm here for all of that. I'm here for all of that. We gonna turn right into that. But I gotta ask you about your name. So Never Ending Nina. What is the name about? What does it mean to you?
So, in community, for those that don't know, I am a proud Black transgender woman. And so you have to choose a name that best suits you when you are part of your transition. And so I am a movie head. And so one of my favorite movies was The Never Ending Story. And so the key thing in that movie to me was imagination and using your imagination to create a safe space for you. And so within that, I took that and I said, oh, okay, that's my name, Never Ending Nina, because the journey never ends. And until I die, I'm going to be going on this journey of finding myself, seeing how I show up, and then creating those lasting moments that people can say, oh, she was here.
Well, listen, Nina, there are a few of us who believe that not even death can put us to an end.
See, come on, Dr.
I'm about to say, we about to go there, Nina. Let's both pull back, cause we'll just break out into a Pentecostal fit. I can tell you know what that is. All right, listen. I heard that your mom inspired you to be an activist, and when I heard this, I said I have to ask her about this. So tell me about that. How did that happen?
Yes. So growing up, I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas, by way of New Orleans, Louisiana, now living in Los Angeles, California. But my mother has been a social worker for the school district for about 30 plus years, I believe, in Port Arthur, Texas. And so I would see her link children into care. I would see her talk to parents in community. I would see her give information to the students when they kind of needed some guidance. And so fast forward, because of who I am in my community, which started in New Orleans, Louisiana, in community, I started building that that viewpoint out and that work out in that same aspect, but centering it in the Black queer, Black LGBTQIA plus space. And so everything that I saw her do, I can say, oh, some of the things I am doing and have done in the space of Black LGBTQIA community.
So your mom was the example. You watched her sacrifice and struggle and fight for other people, and that lit the fire in you.
Yes, indeed. And so that triggered in me, it's not just about me, it's about community, because community for me has shown up so much for me in the space of my existence and my enlightenment, because we all need that space. And some of us don't know how to tap into that, but luckily they'll have those, I call them lighthouses, which are those individuals that they say, oh, something about that person, I'm gonna go talk to them for 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes turns into 5 years. And so that's the space of what we need more in the Black space. And I'm always censoring and making sure that people understand my voice, understand that I'm talking to Black people, because we always get distracted by other people that come into our space. We need more entities and more safe spaces to have these type of conversations to build equity and empowerment for ourselves.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I knew I was going to love you. I knew it. As soon as you came on this screen, I could tell from your spirit. I said, I'm going to like her. I'm going to like her. So listen, I'm going to make a statement, and you tell me if it's fair. And if it's not fair, you tell me why it's not fair. Here it is. The Black community has never been receptive of Black trans women.
I can't always do an absolute. I always have to say that in a lot of experiences, Black allyship, being Black cis or Black heterosexual community, all those type of terms, have not done their best to show up for Black trans people, particularly Black trans women. And we could see that with statistics. We could see that with, all the things that are happening, especially under the Trump administration, how the increase of violence has happened, particularly in the Black space with Black men, some Black men, and Black trans women.
Now listen, you're going right where I want to go, because I want to specifically ask you about how Black men have treated you specifically, but also because you're an activist, you know this space, how Black men treat Black trans women generally.
So I always make sure I always use certain vocabulary as far as the intersection in that. For me, in layman's terms, that's just like where two things can meet or more than one thing can meet, so you can see the levels of how they come together as well as interact with each other. And so the intersections of that in the Black space is that we know that Black men have been associated, have been attracted, and also are in intimate relationships with Black trans women. But because of what society deems and the stigmas and the, like you said, vitriol amongst someone identifying as a Black trans woman, the stigma is to say that I can't show that love publicly. And so if I get found out that I have a love, a respect, a mutual seeing of each other by my society, by my friend circle, by my mother, by my father, by my uncles, by my pastor, then I have to enact violence upon these trans women, and particularly Black trans women. So that's the kind of like space of, that's the thing that we don't want to talk about, but I'm here to call a spade and understand that we need these uncomfortable conversations in order to find ways to where we can all see each other, because we are here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I hope you know, or hope you get a sense of my spirit and my heart, and you know that you're in safe and good hands. I got to take a break, but I want to ask you this before I take this break. Has that been your journey? Has that been your story?
Yes, most definitely. I have it, thankfully, because I have given the insight to start taking notice of how I navigate, that I was already building my tool belt. I was already putting tools in my tool belt to understand that I can get you with my vernacular. I can get you with my charm. I can understand with my education. That's called privilege in some spaces, because a lot of Black trans women don't even have access to higher education, housing, job placement, security, health resources, all of those things. But because of knowledge that I have attained, I can then go into those spaces and call a spade and say, hey, get that together now. If we talking about Blackness across the board, get that together.
Yeah, listen, I got to take this break. But I always say, and I say it tonight, if you're going to love Black people, you got to love Black people. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. She is a proud, out, and living her life Black trans woman, never ending. Nina is here tonight. Nina, I've so enjoyed talking to you. I want to get, let's hypothetically play this game for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you had a microphone and you could speak to every Black and brown person in the country, and they all had to listen to whatever you were going to say over these next few seconds. What would you want to say to us?
So, for the record, 2021, 54 murders of Black trans people happened last year. That is the intersection of transphobia. Majority of those Black trans people were Black trans women. That's misogyny, intersection. And in that, most likely, and the majority of those individuals were darker skinned trans women, colorism. So majority of those individuals are affected by all those intersections. And that's just in the Black community. That's not outside our culture. That's not outside our community. The record states, the police report states that most of those interactions, harmful and violent, were between a Black cis man and a Black trans woman. So we have to speak to that in the ways to build out what action steps can we take. For me, I would say Black, keyword some, because I know some Black people might give me, but don't stay all because they ain't the, you know what I'm talking about. But I want to make you uncomfortable. Some Black men, stop killing Black trans women. Some LGBT, because I could call us into the table as well, community, stand up for your trans and non-binary siblings. Also, some Black cis women, stop erasing my womanhood just because it makes you uncomfortable. I understand you, I see you, I respect you. You have to do the same for me. That's called accountability. That's called respect. That's called pulling you in, not calling you out, because we have to still be here.
Don't stop. I was just responding. I wasn't cutting you off.
Okay.
Keep right on going.
So these are the uncomfortable, because I know people probably was, moving around in their chest like, well, they ain't talking to me. Yes, check your internal bias, because I'm pretty sure if I had did a one-on-one training with you, I could pull it out you and say, hey, why did you think that way? Because I had to tell you that, because I represent a Black trans woman and I'm actually not supposed to be here or exist, or me saying my womanhood ruffles your feathers if you are quote unquote a natural born woman. That still doesn't equate for you to disrespect me. That still doesn't equate for you to reduce me. That still doesn't give you the opportunity to set up structures, that the same structures that are set up for you, you then turn around and set up for me, and we still look like this. But yet we still got to go out into the main world and worry about racism and worry about us being stigmatized. But yet we do it in our own community to those who we deem as other. This is the accountability piece that I speak to, of saying, let's call a spade a spade. Because if you don't want them white folks doing that to you when you go to Brentwood, you can't do that to me when I go in Lamert Park.
Listen, I love it. So I'm gonna put you to work, okay? Because you got your activist hat on. I'm gonna ask you two questions, so I'm gonna put you to work. Here's the first one. What do you say to people who say that being trans is wrong?
That's their issue. That's not mine. I'm sorry, but for whoever says that, that's something that you have to sit with. You can keep that long as you give me 50 feet, because I'm gonna still be doing the work for the equality of the overall Black space. You can have that, but that doesn't mean that you disrespect me. That doesn't mean you harm me. That doesn't mean you enact all these types of violence or put things in place or barriers in place of me to get to my happiness.
Wait, you just gave me something. You just gave me something. This aha moment, because if I have to agree with you in order to protect you, there's something wrong with me. Yeah.
So you got my hair moving. So that's the thing about accountability and us. That's what's, once again, me having that insight and that viewpoint. I can see some of the things that are blinding you from seeing me. And so even in the case of I bring it home, I always make I statements. Me and my family, we don't have the best relationship as far as them seeing my identity. That's not fine, but that's still their stuff. I still give them grace to work that out for them. But what I look to is how I show up for myself. What am I doing for myself, for my community, for my dreams and aspirations, for everything that I show up in? And it's always centered, because the only way that I can continue this is because my foundation is solid.
Okay. So here's my second question to put you to work, all right?
Come on.
What do you say to people who say that a man can't be a woman?
Well, I mean, once again, that's checking your internalized bias to understand that all of these are structures built from nothingness. There were a time before all of this westernized views that people existed outside of the gender norms. So yes, because your grandmother and your great grandmother and your great 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 grandmother and your great 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 grandmother all were assigned a certain gender at birth because their doctor has said it. That doesn't mean that holds truth for everyone, because they might not fit into that westernized viewpoint of what gender identity means. And so a lot of community is saying, that's not how I identify. I know that I know who I am outside of anything else. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not doing anything to reduce anyone. All I'm doing is pursuing my happiness. And so however I choose to identify in this place of so-called freedom, then you need to allow me that space to show up in the fullness of who I
am. Okay. Can I keep you one more segment?
Please.
Okay, good. Because there's no way I'm letting Nina go. She stayed. People, I'm kidnapping her. Metaphorically.
Please. With consent.
Yeah, with consent. All right, so you gotta dot all the I's these days. Let's take this break. We'll be right back with more Never Ending Nina right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Never Ending Nina. So listen, let's change gears a little bit, because I also want people to get a sense of, your heart and your journey. My producers told me that 4 years ago, you lost 2 of your nieces. Did I get that right?
Yes. So once again, in a lot of people in community, usually when they come into the fullness and understanding who they are, sometimes in the Black space, because of Christianity, because of religion, get kicked out of their house. So they didn't have to go to their chosen family. In that process, by me and being in New Orleans and being in community and showing up in my work, I was the auntie in community to the up and coming trans youth. Mm-hmm. And so I used to have a safe space where they would come Monday through Friday to, wash up, use the laptop, all that kind of stuff. So we build a rapport as family. 4 years ago in Mardi Gras, which is Mardi Gras now, every time Mardi Gras rolls around yearly, it comes over me that 2 of those individuals lost their lives in the same Mardi Gras weekend. My niece, China Gibson, got shot in New Orleans East by someone who she knew. And then my other niece, Ciara McElvin, got stabbed to death downtown New Orleans, the same Mardi Gras weekend, 2017. And so which are still pending cases because they did not find the killers, because they didn't put enough energy right then and there when it happened to even search for the culprits or get any information regarding the situation at hand. So once again, the trickle effect of is the trauma, the anxiety, the fight or flight energy that always happens when interacting with particularly Black men. Me recognizing that I'm a Black trans woman. And so they lost their lives young age. Ciara was 22, I believe. And China was 25, 26, I believe. And it's just that resounding silence from the Black community that if it was a Black heterosexual person or straight identifying person, particularly man, that we center in our fight of equality and justice, then some justice would have prevailed. But because they are other, because they are on the outskirts of who we deem are worthy to give attention to, family members still have to go through the process of the daily grief of understanding that we can no longer look for these entities who are supposed to protect and serve. They don't do that for us, nor the community, the Black community in some cases show up for us in that existence.
How did those deaths affect you?
You couldn't save them. I really, because the thing about it that for China, she was visiting. She moved to Sacramento on the West Coast and she went home. And before that weekend, she came to visit me in Los Angeles. And I saw, like you saw the light in me, I saw the light of change in her. And I was like, oh my God, something like you are doing something great for yourself. And literally, when I got the news, I was like, are you kidding me? And so just trying to swallow that hard pill of like, she was just on the precipice of change. She was just doing better for her life, because once again, the intersections of, you can't, for a lot of trans people, their minimum take home, if any, is $10,000 a year. They don't even have employment because they get stigmatized and get discriminated against on workplaces, as well as in housing. So just the sheer fact that they were striving to do better for themselves and get taken, and then no justice, then I have to sit in the same Black space, because everyone sits around, but we can stand for George Floyd, we can stand for Sandra Bland, no disrespect to that, because I was there with them as well. But even in this space, I do believe, because the culprits were Black men, it's a silence, which then makes the people who get affected want to be silent too, because we know what would happen.
Yeah, yeah. I've often wondered what would be the response of our people if the police happened to shoot an unarmed trans woman. I wonder where the rallying
But
convocation.
Dr. Sean, we've had that, because I think it was 2 years ago, Tony McDade, a Black trans man, was shot. And so, see, that is the intersection of when they found out that he was a trans identifying man, the resources dropped, the energy dropped, because it was like, wait a minute, oh, that's a trans person. Well, we might not see them like that, so we're going to push back. And so those are the intersections that we speak of when we talk about accountability in our community, once again, the Black community, in all its intersections, because Black queer, Black trans, Black LGBTQIA plus people have always been there in the fights, in those quote unquote gray areas, because the quote unquote regular people didn't want them to get that shine and that light. So once again, calling a spade is bringing everybody to the table and having an accountability conversation, so then we can continue to move forward.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, and thank you for reminding me that has already happened, and the response is already encoded and enshrined in our behavior. Before I let you go, let's change gears, because I want to turn back to the light. All right. What is your most fundamental prayer for your life? What are you hoping for?
My continual hope is that I get to continuously live out my dreams. I, once again, am at the intersections of showing up for my community, but also showing for my dream process. I'm a singer, songwriter, entertainer, artist. I'm a community cultivator. And so anytime I get to use my voice, I might not be able to get you verbatim and verbally, but I might hit you with my musicality. And so that's the plight of the artist. Like Nina Simone said, I have to show up and exude what the times exist. And so in my art, in my music, in my EP that I just released Present, that is another receipt to say, oh, she is here and she was here and she was showing up, because I speak to the intersections of being a Black trans woman, navigating the music space, but also still showing up for community, also still creating change in the music entertainment space, because we know that needs expanding and understanding and enlightening. Enlightenment.
Visibility is important. I got two questions. Give me two short answers on these. Here's my first one. What are you no longer afraid of?
Uncertainty.
I should have asked that earlier, because that deserves unpacking. Okay, well, here's my second one, and unfortunately it has to be my last one. What do you know for sure?
I know for sure that I am God's child. I know for sure that I am divine. I know for sure that I am, once again, my allness is the center of me. That's what I know for sure.
I love Nina. I
love you.
I love you. Listen, you got to come back and see me.
Please.
Please. I enjoy talking to you. I wish tonight that that everybody would get to know your spirit, and to know that you are an asset to us, and that you bring so much life and joy and power. And I know you've struggled and suffered for that smile on your face. And I know that you know the valley of the shadow of death. But I also know that life and love and grace and mercy, they belong to you. You are the light, you are the dawn, you are the breaking of the day, and no devil in hell can stop it. We better stop. I'll be back with some Ask Dr. Sean, because Nina and I are about to act up. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So I enjoyed Never Ending Nina, and I hope all of you watched that conversation will walk away from it thinking a little differently about how we treat people, how we love people, how we allow people to flourish in whatever space they find themselves. And again, what somebody else does with their life has nothing to do with you. You follow what I'm saying? And if you get the space you need to exist, give them the space that they need to be whatever they're supposed to be. Anyway, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. So you guys always send me amazing videos and DMs and emails, and this video is no different. Let's take a look at it.
Hey, Dr. Sean, my name is Alicia, and I'm in need of some advice. If a family member moves in because they've fallen on hard times, what is the maximum amount of time they should be allowed to get back on their feet? I look forward to hearing your feedback.
Well, listen, great question. I know a lot of people find themselves in that position. I was actually in that position once. I wasn't the one providing the shelter. I was the one needing the shelter. But here's my answer. It all depends on you. It all depends on the relationship you have with the person. It all depends on what the person happens to be doing in the process of rebuilding their lives. Some people, like me, I'm not real tolerant of people being in my space a long time, right? I got to be in love with you. I mean, in love with you. Like drink your bath water in love with you for you to stay in my house in extended periods of time. When my sons come, the first thing I establish with them is, when is the flight leaving? Because they'll try to stay forever. My point is, that's how I'm built. So with me, that time frame is going to be a whole hell of a lot shorter than it might be for you. I think you have to ask yourself some honest questions about what you are able to tolerate, what you're willing to endure, and how does it sort of fit into whatever you had on your agenda at this season, this stage, this time in your life. You follow me? So all of those factors have a part to play in that. And then I also think, what kind of relationship do you have with the person? If it's a really good relationship and they are bringing something to the table, they're adding some value. And this is what I would say to everybody who happens to be where I used to be, which is needing some place to stay, needing someone to let me stay with them. And the thing I learned from that experience is always bring value. If you're staying in somebody else's home, they're letting you stay wherever, try to bring value. That may be you wash the dishes. That may be you take out the trash. That may be you buy pizza every Friday. You know what I'm saying? But you're always trying to add value so that people understand that you appreciate what it is they're doing for you and you want to add something to the table. You're not just taking all the electricity, taking all the water, drinking all the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? Don't drink all the Kool-Aid if you live in somebody else's house. That's a good way to get put out. My point is this. It depends on a lot of factors. I don't know the factors well enough to be able to tell you what the appropriate time is, but I do know that these questions that I'm asking you are your way, your path, that are going to guide you to be able to answer those questions rather for yourself. Okay? What can you tolerate? What is your maximum capacity in terms of time for inconvenience? What's the relationship you have with this person? Are they adding value? And here's the last one. Are they really in a destitute sort of debilitating situation? Because some people will move into your house just because you're convenient. You follow what I'm saying? So good luck with that. And I'm sure that somehow, some way, you'll make the right decision. And when you have to communicate with someone that it's time to go, I know you didn't ask me this, but this is for free. Just be honest, be compassionate, be direct, repeat yourself. That's important. And say it clearly. If you follow those rules, you'll be fine. Anyway, someone DM me this question. So I showered my boyfriend with gifts for Valentine's Day, but I only received a box of chocolates and flowers from him. Am I ungrateful or am I dating a cheap man? Okay. Why do people go, Steve-O, why do people go crazy over Valentine's Day, right? Why do people measure the success of a relationship based upon what it is they get for Valentine's Day? Let me help you, all right? Valentine's Day is not an indication of anything other than a particular day of the week, all right? For example, if he had bought you a car and a house and a yacht, right, and put $100,000 in your bank account, Would that make the relationship great and wonderful because he did all of that? You do know that a man can buy you a house and a car and still be cheating on you. You do know that, right? Because you do know that while a woman can fake an orgasm, a man can fake a whole relationship. See, it's the quality of the relationship. Let me answer your question. Are you being ungrateful? Yes. Are you dating a cheap man? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't value Valentine's Day the way that you do. And if you gave a lot to get a lot, you should have kept your money in your pocket. Don't give things to motivate people to give you things, and that's how you manipulate. That's manipulative. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about you. Next year, when it comes to Valentine's Day, just give what you can and don't give with the expectation of getting anything. And if you want something and that's why you're giving, don't give. Okay? I know that sounded kind of harsh, but you needed that. You know, I love you. I love you people. Anyway, Never Ending Ninda was amazing tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this conversation tonight. I will see you soon, all right? Y'all be good to each other. I love you.